to make it more interactive, right? Because some people might be watching this instead of just listening to me the whole time. You can ask the question verbally, and then I'll jump in to answer. Okay. So we'll start with Kevin while you're sipping your coffee.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll get my camera up afterwards. But yeah, my question was just if you're just starting out on Twitter, like if you're, if you got an audience of 50, 100, like just a small amount, what are some best practices to follow as you try and like grow that community and get more people involved in it?
So you already have 50 people.
I
Is that
mean,
what you're
I
saying?
think I've got, I don't know, 100 and something, 100 and 157.
I think, okay. Oh, by the way, welcome, David. So the first thing you do is, I think it would be nice to identify the pattern of these people. Like, do they belong to the same group? Do they have the same traits? So that you can understand who else you can go after. And of course, on one side, you need to tweet a little bit about that niche, right? Because you need to be shown as an expert, what I talk about in the book. But at the same time, I think you can rely on this group of people a lot. Like, if you're sure they're the right people in the community, then actually by engaging with them alone, you will be exposed to their network, right? And you know how people hang out with similar people and like-minded people. So, which means as long as you engage with them frequently, they will help you expand your network. So I don't think you need to do anything like crazy to make that happen, but just focus on the ones around you and help them to a point that they would even go to the extra mile and say, hey, Kevin is super helpful in this. You should talk to him. I think the word of mouth is the best way to grow. Yeah, but you first have to be known for something and be helpful to people.
Thank you.
Yeah. So feel free to, if you have like a short follow up based on your question, you can of course do it. But otherwise, we can go down the list and then you can add more questions at the end. All right.
I think, sorry, I think my short follow up would just
Sure.
be what if there's a skill gap with your, like so you say, be an expert, but if you're not quite there yet, you're really involved in a topic, you're passionate about it, but you're not at
Mm-hmm.
that, like, I am the, I am the source for info on this, right? So how can you
Oh,
still engaging in a meaningful way if you're still sort of like building up, your topic, like your expertise in your topic?
right, right. So great question. I was just in a workshop that Ayush was hosting, and I was the speaker there. And someone asked a very similar question. First of all, I don't think you need to be an expert. Like, there's a difference between sharing things about your niche versus sounding like an expert. So, actually, let me be honest with you. 18 months ago, I got online, right? I was in startup all my career, and I didn't know anything about building public. It was around, like, people are transparent about how they do things, but I don't know anything about it. So basically, what I did was I kind of put on a learner mindset and I say, hey, I'm going to study everything about this topic. And I'll tell you how I did that. I went to indiehackers.com. I turn I go to the Build in Public page every single day and I read every single post and I document the pain points that people are having in my Notion document. And also, I go in there every single day to help people out based on what I learned. But I'm not going in like, hey, I'm the Build in Public guy. You should listen to me. I'm just saying that, hey, I learned that this is a great approach. Maybe you can try it out. Something more mild. And one of the things I talk in the book is like, you don't say you're the leader. Actually, if we imagine we're in like high school, if you want to be the football captain, you don't just come out and say, hey, I'm really good at football. Can I be the captain? You basically go to your classmate and say, hey, you're new to football. I know a few tricks. Maybe I can teach you. And then over time, they look at you as, we need a captain next season. Can we pick you? So in a way, have a learner mindset, share it often, share it every single day. And people know that you're the go-to, but at the same time, the tone can be different. No expert tone, but a learner tone, a sharing tone. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I think you say it. It's a growth hack, and I definitely don't buy it. And I run a course called Building Public Mastery, and I got a student who signed up to it for the next cohort. And actually, he's paying someone to grow his Twitter. He doesn't know what she's doing for him, but she is doing engagement group. And when he came to me, he said that, oh my God, like I got all these random likes, all these random followers, and clearly they don't care about me. So on the surface, like every tweet looks good, like 20 likes, 30 likes, but when people go in, they know there's no substance. So if you care about the long-term game, if you care about your personal brand, don't destroy it that way. Like people are smart, people are not dumb. So if you ask me, I would say definitely no. But I can let you know my approach. So Ayush and I met when we both started online. I can say we were kind of in an engagement group, but not officially. But we are just friends who are supporting each other. So we help each other out because we're both new to this. And when we see each other's tweets, I don't know you about, no, actually I know Ayush is always there for me. But when I see Ayush doing something, I just jump in to help. And I think in a different way, this is the real way of engagement group because it's the people you really care about. And a lot of people mistaken that, oh, I get on Twitter, I need to get followers. But I always say it is just an illusion. Like the 10K, 50K is just an illusion. Behind every big accounts, everyone has this small core group of friends who are empowering everything. For example, do you think I really launched a book by just posting a tweet? No, I have been spending weeks telling my friends and the people who follow me, hey, my book is coming out. I slowly kind of bring them up to speed so that when I share, they would be helping me out. So it's all like it's more friendship than engagement. Yeah. Hope that helps you.
Better. I agree.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Glad on. The amazing part about this book is that you all are the exact people that I want to meet because you care more about the genuine way of doing things. So I really encourage you to connect with each other. This is your organic engagement group. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Ayush. You're the next one.
Yes. Yes. So I've been following your lessons for a while now, and I've been trying to share my journey authentically. But something that I always get confused or I'm not sure about is whether I'm oversharing and probably my audience doesn't like it or my audience feels that I'm spamming them. I don't want to lose followers because too much information, right? TMI. Like now building in public, yes, I'm talking about my projects, but not everyone would want to know every little detail. Like how do you draw the line, right? That is the big conundrum that I face. Before posting any tweet, I feel like, should I post this? Should I not post this? And I end up posting it anyways.
Yeah, great question, Ayush. I think, well, first of all, I think when you think about your Twitter presence, you don't want to get to a frequency where you're bombarding people. So don't go to my Twitter today or yesterday because I am bombarding people with my launch tweet. And I actually feel bad about that because I feel like, people don't want to see it. Like, I bought your book. I don't care about your book. Why are you doing this? But I'm trying to convince myself that, hey, this is just one day of the year I'm doing it. I'll be back to normal. But I think just don't go to that extra mile. But you put in your question in the chat saying that you don't want to spam or bored people, right? We talk about spam, but now let's talk about bored. Honestly, I was in your shoe like maybe even a couple months ago, but I think I got over that. Like when we bored people, it's actually a good thing, because if people don't get anything from you, you shouldn't force them to stay, right? If you don't find me valuable, you don't have to attend my events too. But you're here because you want to listen to me. So I appreciate that. So I think over time, we just need to kind of practice that muscle in us to let people go. Know that people come, get what they want, and then they graduate. Just like a school. When you get to that point, then you don't feel bad. Like you can send more emails to them. There will be unfollowers, unsubscribers, and you're like, I'm still me. I'm just keep going with my journey. Yeah, so it takes time. Not saying this is overnight. Yeah.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Ellen, you're next.
Thanks. So this is kind of the situation I'm in right now. I have about 1,700 followers. I've been on Twitter for almost 10 years now, or even longer. But it feels very stale to me. So I have no idea who most of my followers are. I don't see a lot of interaction with them. And the people that are on my timeline by now are pretty random, and I don't necessarily connect with all of them. What advice would you give me to revive my engagement with Twitter?
Yeah, Ellen, can I clarify? Is this your followers or is this your following list?
Both. I mean,
okay.
It's both. By this point, it's just people that I've kind of accumulated both ways.
Got it.
And I've never had a very deliberate approach to Twitter. I've just been on Twitter very long.
Yeah. I see so many accounts like this. Like in my last cohort, I have someone with like 18K followers, but like 3 likes every tweet. And I understand it's because you have your account for a long time and you might be active back then. So, okay, let me break your question down into 2 parts. Let's talk about your following list. So the people you follow, and you're saying your timeline, your home feed is like all random people. I think just clean it up because you are in control. Like if these are the people you don't want to see, why bother keeping them? So someone reached out to me like 2 months ago, built this unfollow tool. It's called comb.social, comb.social. Free tool. That guy is really nice. That's why I'm helping him, giving him feedback. So you can go on there and you can quickly unfollow in batch. And I love it. I love it so much because it's free too. I put it in the book. So take care of that. Bring your following list down to only the people you care about. Like your home feed should be people you are excited to interact with for the things that you're working on. Okay, so we take care of that. Now let's talk about followers. This one is tricky because on one hand, you have some credibility there with like, I think you said 1.7K followers, right? You have some credibility. So it might look good to your first impression. So which is something that is a plus, is a good thing. But at the same time, smart people would know that they're not active because they look at your tweets, they know that. So 2 approach. One is you don't clean up the number because it's credibility, but you focus on getting the engagement up. You try to match them closer, get them to be closer. Another way is like go big or go home. Clean up that follower list and start again. And this is painful. If you think about this is painful, but at the same time, this is actually the right approach because these are people that you don't care or they don't care about you anymore. A bit harsh there, but just trying to make the point. But so the way, there's a way to actually clean them. So not using a tool, but actually it's a bit harder. You have to block them first and unblock them, then they unfollow you. So it's a bit of a mess and a lot of work. So you can decide what approach you want. Maybe you can try to get the engagement up first just by cleaning up who you follow. Yeah. It's baby step.
Actually, there's a button now called remove this follower. You
Oh,
don't need to
really?
do
Oh,
you don't need to do a block and block thing.
easy. That's even better. Thank you. Okay. Did I answer your question, Ellen?
Yes, thank you. That was helpful.
All right. Awesome. Next, we have get us.
There you go.
All right.
Hello, everyone. So one thing I've noticed that I struggle with Twitter in general is because relationships are very important to me. I like friends, I like making new friends, but the way I currently do it is really through text, through phone calls, in person, email, people that I met through the years that we've connected or people have introduced me. And because of that, I just really haven't been drawn, or I'm just not active on social media in general, Facebook, Instagram, all of those. And I think part of that is also my struggle with getting more active on Twitter, both as someone who likes to browse and also connect with people, because it's just not native to me. It's a whole different kind of mindset versus I compare that to some of my other friends or younger folks who like, it's just a way of life. But I do see the value why I want to be more active is because really just making new friends that I wouldn't otherwise, people in like Singapore, people in other parts of the country, the world. So I'm not sure if you yourself were already active or had that social media mindset prior to being more active on Twitter, or maybe someone else in this group or anyone else who kind of wasn't really into social media, even though maybe that's not a good generalization, but who now believe in it. I guess I'm just trying to overcome that mental mindset of how to become more social media minded, open, at least specifically to Twitter.
Right. So I only use Instagram before, prior to these 18 months, I only use Instagram, and it is personal life. But I leave my profile public because, honestly, I'm just a transparent person. Like ever since young, I don't know why. I just don't care. I just share things. But I actually never use Twitter and social media for business because one, I didn't have a business under my name before. Second of all, I had this impression that Twitter is for politicians, celebrities to broadcast their message. So I'm like, I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. So I never used it. I had the account since 2009, but I never used it. So when I became active online, I think the mindset shift was, I know I need to use Twitter to build a business. I need to use Twitter to build a personal brand. So I have my eye on the ball. Like, how do I even do that? And making friends is just kind of my approach to do it. There's so many ways to do it, right? But making friends is my way to do it. But because in the book I talk about, without Twitter, I wouldn't have the online business I have right now. So I think you need to connect the dots. Like, how can you make Twitter part of your business? If you're not able to do that, I do understand some people would struggle. Like, why do I spend so much time on Twitter? So, yeah, connect the dots. Yeah,
connecting the dots and figuring out that why. And
make Twitter part of your business plan instead of just, okay. Another thing I see online is that a lot of people use Twitter like a distribution channel. They post like, oh, I have this YouTube video, I just post it on Twitter. I have this blog post, I just post it on Twitter. And the mindset there is, I'm just shooting traffic to somewhere else. That's the wrong approach. Like, if you think Twitter is part of your business, you really have to just stay on Twitter. Don't try to get people off Twitter, because it's the wrong thing to do. So yeah, hopefully I answer your connect the dots and build Twitter into your business. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Wow. We have comments, but anyone has a question, we can just raise our hand now. Ellen, did I see a hand? Okay.
Yes, my question was, and it was actually triggered by the last question.
Yeah.
For those of us who are not entrepreneurs, would you modify the approach to Twitter, or would you say the same approach works?
Then I would. Can you tell me more? Like, if you're not entrepreneur, like, what's your goal on Twitter?
That is maybe the big question then. So I'm that is actually one of the things I'm struggling with as I try to revive my Twitter account, is like, what am I doing this for? And I was wondering if you have, based on this what you've seen, if you have any experience with that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely don't think Twitter is just for entrepreneurs. If your goal is to, find job opportunities, or even just make like-minded friends because it's hard to find in real life, I think as long as you set that goal, then you work backwards to find out the steps to do it. For example, like job opportunities, right? I know actually in the last couple of years, a lot of people built their personal brand because they want better offers, right? So then your approach would be, how can I become known in a topic so that companies would hire me? So that would be your goal if your goal is, that would be your way if your goal is to find jobs. But if your goal is to find like-minded people, then blend into communities and just have fun with people in that community. Yeah. So I'm talking more about building a business because I think most people here are doing that for business. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Mattia, Ian, Marco, welcome here. If you have a question, since we ran through all the questions on the chat room, if you have one, just raise your hand and then you can hop in. Marco, let's do it.
Hey, Kevon. First of all, I just want to say hi. We've been sort of chatting off and on over the last year, and I'm just really impressed with what you've put together and all the different things that you're doing. So super cool. Kudos.
Thank you.
I have had this problem on Twitter of doing really well on LinkedIn with a profile and a way of presenting myself and interacting with people, and it's worked on LinkedIn, and I've gotten nowhere on Twitter. I mean, it's just like, it's embarrassing. So I kind of feel like I'm starting from scratch again. I'm willing to like sort of wipe the slate because I really want to create a presence on Twitter. First of all, is it a good idea to just go dark for a while and then start over, or just like rebuild from scratch? What's your advice about starting over?
Yeah, I actually think that it doesn't really matter. Like I actually went to your profile a couple of times. So right now you're posting a lot of blog posts and like Harvard Business Review blog posts, right? So yeah, you definitely want to stop doing that, because not a lot of people are keen on just clicking to go somewhere. So, but when you talk about restarting, I think you don't have to go dark. You don't have to create a new account, because, sometimes I look for a tweet from 4 months ago and I scroll on someone's profile and it stops. So tweets come and go anyway. After a few months, no one can see those old ones. So I would just kind of keep going, build on what you have. Unless your whole follower base is like inactive, they don't do much with you, then we just talk about this with Alan, then maybe you can clean it up a little bit so that you have a more focused group to work with. I think, I'm not familiar with LinkedIn, but my guess is it has a different culture. Like LinkedIn, my understanding is that you don't have to post a lot, but you post something longer, maybe every 2 days or something, and people just do one engagement and then they go to the next thing, right? But Twitter is all about conversation. Like it's really like texting a friend. So completely different approach. And if you start doing this with your account, I think that might work. But you need to stop sharing those blog posts.
I get you. So how important is it to work with like a group of people who are all supporting each other? I found that really helped me a lot in LinkedIn because people basically made a commitment to comment on each other's posts and engage and stuff like that.
Right.
Talk about that.
Yeah, so we covered that just now. Let me bring it up again.
Okay, sorry, I missed.
No, it's okay. So Martina was asking engagement groups. So if it is some kind of like group just for getting likes or engagement, I wouldn't do it, because people are smart. They would hurt your brand. But when I started, I was really close with Ayush, and then we are going after the same goal because we want to build something online. And the group organically formed because when I see Ayush tweeting, I would jump in and reply. And in a way, I'm not really trying to give him more exposure, but I just want to have fun with my buddies. So if you can find, maybe to start with, if you can find 10 to 20 like buddies and get to know them, be close to them to a point where you really enjoy just jumping in and helping out, I think is a fantastic way, but it has to be genuine. Yeah.
One last question.
Sure.
Is there an ancillary tool for Twitter where you can keep track of all the people that you're engaged with? In other words, like Twitter, it seems to me, is like the channel where you actually are engaging with people. Is there another tool that you know about where you could basically go, oh, okay, here's my 10 buddies. I just want to check in on each one of them each day?
Yeah, so there's a tool called Black Magic. I know a lot of people subscribe to it. It gives you a sidebar where it's pretty much like level up your Twitter experience, and it's quite affordable, like $5-7 a month, and it shows you like your closest circle, and it shows you like if you go to my profile, it shows you whether Kevon liked your recent tweet, what's your last interaction. So and you can even take notes. But
perfect.
I'll be
this is
honest,
exactly what
I don't use any of that because I'm the slow approach. When you talk to me, I talk to you, and I try to remember people. It is. So I don't have deep insights for you, but check it out. Mattia might have something more to share. Yeah, you can ask Mattia.
Okay, cool.
Actually, you said it right, because you can pin some people on your I don't remember if it's the home page of the plugin, but you can see when they tweet, and you can also write a quick reply, or otherwise you can click and go to the tweet. On the lowest plan, I guess you can pin until 20 people, and on the higher one is about 50, if I remember well.
Okay. Yeah,
Great.
check it
Thanks,
out.
guys.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone?
I use TweetDeck for this. So you can make a list on Twitter of people that you want to engage with regularly, and then you can make a TweetDeck column. I think Kevon talks about TweetDeck in his book as well.
Yeah.
And you just visit that column every day, and everyone's tweets will load up, and then you can engage with the people that you want to engage with. And it's a free Twitter's own product. Owned by Twitter.
Yeah. So one should we call it strategy is that I also mentioned it in the book, is that every quarter I try to come up with a list of 10, 20 people that I really want to just get closer to them, and I put them on the Twitter list. So I use TweetDeck so that I can, just bits by bits get closer to them, be around them, and it will be based on, what goals I have, like what kind of circle I want to get into. So I don't have to DM them one day and be like, hey, I need help from you. No, not like that. But I'm slowly getting closer. So maybe that will help. Yeah. Any questions from Tyler, Ian, David? Yeah. Ian first. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. We have the same mic.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Snowball ice.
I think mine is Snowball, but it's Snowball. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a very articulated question, but I've been thinking about it a little bit lately because I'm in school and university. So a lot of my time is taken up every day doing studying or whatever it is. So I guess my question is, do you have any suggestions for my main issue is building connections and having the time to spend 30 minutes or an hour on Twitter. So I just don't know if you have any suggestions for building connections when you have competing priorities every day. I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know if you've covered this or not.
Sure. Yeah. Ian, I would say, yeah, I think you need 30 minutes per day if you want to build some connection, because yeah, honestly, I cannot think of something that is automated or you can do it in 10 minutes. Because one of the things that is hardest when I talk to people getting on Twitter is that they cannot find like-minded people. It's not so much about finding like-minded people is the hardest part of all. So my theory is that it takes time. Like you have to go through different people. Like I would go to maybe Kevin's Twitter. If I like Kevin, if I think Kevin has an audience that might be my audience as well, I would go to Kevin's tweets and then look at, okay, these are the people engaging with Kevin. And then I would just make it a practice to go to someone and interact with them through public tweet. Or I wouldn't send a DM first, but I would interact with like 3 people right off the bat. So I guess it can get easier. Like Ian, if you have built yourself like 100 and 200 people around you, then what happened is you get on every day, you see your friends, right? And you know that back at your head, you know that these people have like-minded people around them. So all you need to do is go to their tweets and engage with 3 people. You don't really need to go scouting and searching anymore because that foundation is built. Then it will take like 15-20 minutes. But I don't think there's a faster way. Yeah. It takes time.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't really mean as like an automated way. It's just,
Okay.
I don't know if your approach, essentially what you do, if you had like a certain way of doing it. But like you said, I've built like connections. It's just continuing to build connections has been difficult, just with my time has been stretched a little bit.
Yeah, I think don't rush yourself. If you don't have like an immediate goal, then if you really don't have time, don't stress out that I really need to do 3 connections a day. The reason why I never get Twitter burnout is I actually take a week off Twitter and no one knows because I schedule my tweet. So the only part that's left out is I don't engage with people and no one knows. People still think I'm on Twitter all the time. So if you don't have time, take a break, come back. It's a long game. As long as you're making 3 connections a day, in a year, you do really well. Okay.
I've got another
Marco,
question.
Yes.
Yeah, so my work is helping people start and grow businesses. I'm an entrepreneur coach, and I have a platform that helps people do that. And so I feel like I've got a lot to offer the community, but I'm starting out. So is it best to like give people positive affirmations or like a good comment or, or make offers? How would you like sort of calibrate that balance, especially when, like for me, I'm starting out from, I think I have 26 followers right now.
Well, you get there. Yeah, your focus has been on LinkedIn, so it's okay. But I think you point out something great. It's kind of like the step-by-step approach to relationship building, right? So actually, there's a chapter in the book for that, and it comes from someone from my course. His name is Honor, and he told me, "Hey, Kevon, like I'm this sassy guy. I like to have fun. I like to make fun of people, but when I do that on Twitter, people get offended." He's afraid that people would get offended, and that's why I created this framework. So, well, let me tell you here. You might have seen it in the book. Basically, 4 steps. The first step is encourage, right? Imagine you're at a singing contest and the person in front of you are super nervous before she get on stage, and you don't know this person. You're in a contest. You want to just encourage her and be like, it's okay, just be yourself. You're really good at singing. Don't worry too much, right? Encourage. And then the second step is help people. Like, people have questions and struggles all the time. And sometimes, like, people like me put it out in public. So this is your chance to get in there and help them out and make a mark in their mind, like make a good impression. So encourage, help, and then lift. So Mattia just launched a product yesterday. By the way, a database of Twitter prompts. If you need help generating ideas, go check out Mattia's product. I don't even think about it. He has been a good friend around me, and I just give him a push. Like, he has been giving me a push as well. So lift is the third step. And the last step is joke. Because I feel like if you really want a deep relationship, you want to be buddy-buddy. And if you can get to a point where you can be ironic, you can have fun with someone, even just online, never meeting in real life, that relationship is solid. It doesn't go away. So I would approach it step by step. I don't rush it. Some relationship can happen in a week for all 4 steps. Some relationship would take a year. You have to judge it yourself. But basically, this is the flow. Yeah. So keep go out and encourage everyone. All right. I just want to make sure, Tyler and David, you're taken care of. Do you have a question in mind? You don't have to.
I'm just a lurker here.
Okay.
Just learning. Yeah.
That's fine too. Yeah. Anyone has more questions? I don't want to keep you here, so we can go early as well. But this is your time. I'm here until the last one stays. Oh, yeah.
On the topic of Twitter burnout, or more so how to use Twitter mindfully, another thing I struggle with, and maybe that's why I also try not to be on social media sometimes, is once I get hooked, then I could be there for more time than I anticipated, similar to what like Ian mentioned. We have only so limited time. How do you use it mindfully and thoughtfully? I know there's different techniques like time blocking it, or at least that's the only one I know of. I'm curious what everyone in the group does on how to. I know some people are on it all day. I tried doing that one time where I was getting notifications throughout the day, and then before I knew it, I was always checking my phone, and that wasn't too great. So I removed it from my phone altogether. So now I just go on it from time to time. Sometimes I go missing for like weeks at a time too. But I think part of it just stems from not wanting to get caught in that like always on it on time. But I do like the value of it. I'm curious to see what strategy you use or other people use on how to be more thoughtful and mindful and healthier about just being active on Twitter. Not necessarily posting. It could also just be like browsing, reading people's tweets and reacting, engaging, kind of.
Yeah. Thing. So, Ian, you have an answer to that, or is that a question?
No, I have an answer, but you can go first.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I want to hear from everyone. So you can go ahead, and I can add in something. If anyone has, you can raise your hand too.
So for me, I also had to. I kind of use time blocking in a way, but I'm very time management focused. So what I did was I actually disabled notifications on my phone, so I wasn't enticed, unless it was a priority DM. I think they have on some notifications. You can get some notifications, but not others. But I also have an app called Freedom. So then when I'm working, it blocks everything on your phone, all the notifications from every app you set. So that's helped me a lot. The other thing is I kind of use Pomodoro for my work. So I do 25 minutes 3 times, and then I take a 20-minute break. And in one of those 20-minute breaks, I just go on Twitter for 20 minutes. And then once that 20 minutes is up, I know I have to start work again. So it doesn't stretch. I don't browse for hours. So that's helped me a little bit to stay focused on what I'm doing. And as a few people mentioned, TweetDeck has been helpful in that regard, because if you use lists there, it doesn't really, the value of scrolling infinitely is not really there, because you're kind of just connecting with people. So you kind of just stop. You're I'm done for right now, and then you can move on. But those are some of the things I've kind of worked through the last about year I've been on Twitter.
Yeah, helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I would add on something I learned from Atomic Habits, the book. Pretty popular. Maybe some of you have read it. I like the approach. It talks about how if you want to go running the first thing in the morning, put the running shoe next to your bed. So when you wake up, you see the running shoe and you have to do it, right? Something like that. So if I put this into the Twitter scenario, I would say never write tweets on Twitter, because every time I go on twitter.com, I I stop writing. I start reading. So once you understand that, you find a different way to write your tweets. So this is one. And then the other thing I just noticed recently is I reply more meaningfully when I'm using the laptop. Like when I'm on my phone, I would say some bullshit. Like, not really bullshit, but I would reply to everyone like they're my friends, like super stupid, super short, but nothing to get a new connection. So now I know that, then I try to use what Ian said, like time box my time and get on the laptop. Laptop is really for, more serious conversation. So I guess try to figure out like what your challenge is. Honestly, I struggle. Like my wife always give me an eye when I'm using my phone during family time. But yeah, I try some discipline. I try to put it away, but you have to figure out your own way. Anyone else has?
What do you use then to write your? What do you use to compose your tweets then?
Okay, I have a few steps journey. I jot down ideas anytime. So if I'm in the shower and I have an idea, I think my audience will like it, I jump out of the shower and I use the Slack mobile to send it to a channel. I like it because Slack mobile is super fast. Like Notion on mobile is like super slow. So I jot down the idea. I use Integromat, old name, new name is like Make, to connect it to my Notion database. So basically I populate a Notion database of tweet ideas at any time. And every Monday afternoon, I spend about an hour and a half going to that database and use HypeFurry. And I just kind of restructure the ideas into a tweet format. And then I'm set for the week, basically. So that's my practice.
Did you say Hype Fairy?
Yes, this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're going to sign up, see if anyone here has an affiliate link. Try to help them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I love the sharing of these different technologies because I assumed that there were tools, but I didn't know about them. So I'm really appreciative.
Yeah, no problem. I also created this resource dashboard on Notion, and I put it on Gumroad. And there's a list of tools that I use for different purposes. So you can also check that out. Yeah, so many tools.
Okay, so I have another question if nobody else does. And
Yeah.
I'm just totally loving getting to ask this. So let's say that, I have a client who is not even on Twitter now and would like to build a presence. What's a reasonable period of time to look at getting, to building a presence? Let's say up to 1,000 followers. What would you say, what would be the reasonable ways to calibrate your expectations in terms of time, assuming that somebody's putting aside a half an hour a day and following the recommendations that are in your book?
Right. Wow. This is a very tough question. That's why I never sign clients up like that. Because it's hard. I'll give you some of my numbers when I first started. And my position is that I'm doing this full time, and I was really serious about Twitter since day one. So I think I spend like 2 hours on Twitter, 3 hours on Twitter every single day. And it took me maybe like 2 months to get to 600. Yeah, because in the early days, it's just, you just need to build that circle first, right? But then once you start building some quality work, once you pass 600, 1,000, my recommendation is you're not using tweeting to gain followers. You have to use your real work. So something like really high quality content or like a high quality free email course, those like accelerate my growth a lot because people love what I do and they want to hear more from me. So 1,000 followers, I would say 3 to 6 months realistically. Yeah. Yeah. Also good followers, not just like random followers.
Could you talk a little bit about your private group that you're doing? I can't remember the name that you have, but can you talk a little bit about what you do there? And yeah.
Oh, so other than this book, I run a course, Building Public Mastery. So each year I run 3 cohorts. So pretty much cover everything you need to know from building in public, telling your own stories, to growing a following using that. And then a bunch of things we talk about, like tools, mindset, and all that. And now I'm making it like a year-long journey. So every month we have hot seat where people can sign up and they can kind of like what this is right now. Express your challenge, and then everyone can chip in to answer and help out. So yeah, that's the other thing I do. I think, Marco, you were talking about the mastermind group. So not really running that for the moment. Yeah. So mainly just a course. Yeah. All right. Is everyone happy? Confident? Ready to go? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with me. This is great. Like I think half of you is my new faces to me, so I'm really happy to see you. Let me know if anything I can help out with. If you read the book, if you have any comments, a book is never a static product. I can keep updating it. So please let me know your honest feedback. I would appreciate it. Is there a physical book? So you know what? This is just an A4 paper. Behind this is a book called Turn the Ship Around. So I just kind of hack it together for the launch. But this is my next step. I'm going to put the paperback on Amazon. Yeah. That would be the goal of any author, right?
Yeah. But I want a signed copy.
A signed copy. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that happens. Not a fake copy. All right. Thanks, everyone. Don't want to hold you up. Have a great day, great weekend. See you around. Bye-bye.
It was quite helpful. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.